Hey everyone! I'm currently in the process of renovating and redecorating my bedrooms, hence the blank wall behind me. And I thought this would be a really good opportunity to test out some new bed sheets. I want to start with two brands that pop up on my Instagram feed all the time. I've seen both of them in pretty much every wedding registry that I've checked out recently. Both super popular boutique brands, and that's Parachute and Brooklinen. I think that they are similar brands in a lot of ways. Parachute is a California-based brand and Brooklinen is a New York-based brand. So we've got kind of like a West Coast, East Coast battle happening, but both of them are kind of like, boutique bedding, but still affordable. And they both focus on sustainability, which I think is pretty cool. So I thought this would be like kind of a fun head-to-head. First, I want to talk about what they carry. So Parachute has about 5 different fabrics for sheets. They have a percale cotton, which is like that crispy, cooling cotton weave. They have linen, which is super popular. They have brushed cotton, which is cotton that's actually been softened with wire brushes. That's what I ended up ordering. They have a sateen, which is that like kind of silkier, shinier weave. And then they have an heirloom tencel linen, which is pretty cool. That's kind of their splurge product. It's linen woven with a little bit of tencel lyocell, which is that like super silky fabric. And it's, you get kind of like the beautiful like lived in linen look without some of the like roughness that linen can have, especially when you first, before it goes through enough washes. They have anywhere from like a dozen to maybe 5 colors in each fabric, depending on what you order. I think that mine, the brushed cotton, had the fewest number of color options. There were only, I think, 5. More popular fabrics, I guess the percale and the linen come in over a dozen. And their color palette tends towards more like neutrals and stripes and kind of like natural colors, earth tones, stuff like that, which is kind of like right up my alley. You can see behind me, I ended up getting just white because I like the kind of like crispy white spa vibes for my guest room, which is what this is. But they do have a lot of kind of like beautiful earth tones and like light natural colors as well. Price-wise, they run, depending on what type of sheet you get. In terms of pricing, Parachute's cotton sheets run in the kind of $250 to $300 price range, depending on what size you get. And then their linen and that heirloom tencel linen are like $350 to $390-ish. Most of their fabrics are made at a family-run factory in Portugal. And then they use, GOTS certified organic cotton, 100% European flax linen. Their fabrics are Ocotex certified, so, no harmful chemicals. All of their packaging is recyclable too, which is always a nice touch. They're focusing a lot on sustainability and circularity, which I think is pretty cool. One of my favorite things that they're doing is they are taking returned, recycled Parachute pillows and sanitizing the material and then using that as their down alternative fill, which I thought that was like a really cool. Brooklinen is a similar company to Parachute in a lot of ways. I feel like Parachute does have that kind of like laid back, breezy West Coast style, whereas Brooklinen is a little more like boutique luxury. But they also offer half a dozen different fabrics. They have European linen, they have organic cotton, they have flannel, which seems to be seasonal because right now it's all sold out, but they do have a flannel listed on their site. They have percale, they have sateen, they have heathered cashmere, which is like a cashmere cotton blend too. And then in terms of colors, this is where they kind of win out over Parachute. A lot of their fabrics come in at least like 19 different colors. And in addition to a lot of like solids, still a lot of neutrals, but also kind of like coastal colors. They have stripes and then they have some patterns. Patterns are kind of seasonal. Right now it's summer, so they have a lot of like kind of oyster shell looking patterns and like kind of seashell coastal stuff, more abstract. But so if you are looking for some, a variety of colors or patterns, that might be a good place to start. Their prices are just a little bit below what Parachutes are. Their sheets run, cotton is in the like 160 to 250 range, and then their linen is a little bit more comparable. Actually, their linen tends to be like a little bit higher priced than Parachute, so pretty comparable there as well. I did have a little bit of trouble finding sourcing for some of Brooklinen's fabrics. It seems like they source from factories kind of all over the world. They do say that they're committed to sustainability, and all of their fabrics are Okotex certified, so there's no need to worry about like harmful chemicals or anything there. One thing that I do really like that they do is they have in their sheet sets what they call a hardcore sheet set, which is kind of just their like, you know, basic sheet set plus that a lot of companies have, where you have, you know, your sheet set and your duvet cover and, you know, everything. But they, for those sets, they offer all of their regular colors for that fabric, plus a couple of colorways that kind of combine coordinating fabrics. So you'll get like a set that has like 2 or 3 of their fabrics in a way that, you know, coordinates but doesn't completely match. And I thought that was like a nice way to like buy your like bed in a bag bundle but not have everything be all like super matchy. So I got these brushed cotton sheets from Parachute in white. And then I got the organic cotton sheets from Brooklinen in vanilla, which is this kind of like warm off-white. Both companies gave me free standard shipping. And then, so the Brooklinen sheets actually arrived the day after I placed the order, which was pretty wild. I ordered them, I think on a Saturday, and they got here on Sunday too. I'm on the East Coast, so maybe it's like a, you know, if their hub is New York, maybe like that's why. And then Parachute arrived in 3 days, so not much longer. And that was with the free shipping. I didn't do expedited or anything. Parachute came in a recyclable, like waterproof plastic bag. And then each of the sheets in the set were also like individually wrapped and tied with a ribbon, which I thought was kind of like nice. I could like kind of lay it out and see everything that I got right away. Linen came in a cardboard box with a matching drawstring pouch that the sheets were tucked into. Probably a good way to store your sheets if you don't have a solution for that already. They also gave me a free tote bag, which was very sweet. So for these Brooklinen sheets, the organic cotton, I had 4 color options, but unfortunately one of them was sold out in the size that I needed, queen size. And there were for other sizes, there were 2 or 3 even sold out. I had a little bit of trouble picking a color from them too. Not that I had, you know, I only had 4 options to choose from, but some of their pictures, it was a little hard to tell. They have a color called moss that looks beautiful, and it was the one that happened to be sold out in my size anyway, but I couldn't really tell if it was like, it's like a light yellow green, but I couldn't tell where on the yellow spectrum it was. If anyone has those sheets, please leave me a comment and let me know, like, is it super yellow? Is it more of like a spring green? Because I'm still curious about that. But yeah, I chose the vanilla color just to add a little bit of variety over off-white, so I don't have 2 sets of white sheets for this room. And I have to say, right out of the box, I was a little bit skeptical. You know, just like with the Parachute sheets, I obviously washed them before I tried them out, but they felt a lot starchier than I expected them to. They feel kind of like a thin percale, of which I didn't order the percale cotton, so I didn't think that that's what I was gonna get. But they're like a little bit stiff, a little starchy, almost even like a little papery feeling. But I washed them, put them on the bed, and I was actually like very pleasantly surprised. Like just holding it, it definitely feels, I don't know if you're gonna be able to tell in a video, but it feels stiffer than the brushed cotton from the Parachute sheets. But they are still, like when I was sleeping in them, it didn't bother me at all. It was very comfortable. They're soft. They are a little bit almost papery, but not in a bad way. I don't know how else to describe that. Super crisp and cooling, very light, which is probably great if you're a hot sleeper. I'm a little nervous about how lightweight they are, just because they feel thin, and I'm worried that they're gonna wear out faster. I haven't had them long enough to know that, but I have had them for a couple weeks now, and they feel like they've been doing okay so far. They do wrinkle more than some of the other sheets that I have, and then they wrinkle more than the brushed cotton specifically. But it is kind of those like little, like kind of lived in wrinkles, which I don't really mind. I kind of like that look actually. I feel like it's got that like kind of like perfectly unperfect look that we're all always, maybe not all of us, but that I'm always going for in my home. Because it is, you know, cotton, you can iron it if you want. And because it has like a little bit more of that starchiness, I bet you could get those like really crisp, you know, like hotel corners on your bed if you wanted to. I don't have time for that, not my vibe, but if you do, more power to you. This is a side open. They didn't have the option for the back envelope for these pillowcases, but one little detail that I do really like about these guys is that on the fitted sheet, they have that little label that tells you like which side is like the short side, or you know, like the top and bottom of the bed. So when you're making the bed, you're not like turning the fitted sheet in a million ways. It's a really small detail. It's something that I first noticed in probably a pair of like Target threshold sheets. And it's like, it makes a difference, at least for me. There are options to choose from for the Parachute sheets. And I just went with like plain white because, as I said earlier, I like that kind of like spa vibe for a guest room. I washed them before I put them on the bed and slept in them for obviously a while to test them out. But like seriously, right out of the package, these are some of the softest sheets that I've ever slept in. Still have that like kind of cotton structure that makes like making the bed easier. You know, like I have a set of bamboo sheets and they get all like stretched out and weird, and it's like hard to get like nice crisp edges, and then it like droops in weird places, and it just doesn't look as nice in my opinion. But these have like that really pretty, like you can get that like really nice, you know, hotel bed look without that like sort of starchiness that some percale sheets have, if you're super sensitive to that. They're still pretty lightweight and cooling. It's, you know, July here and we're in the middle of a heat wave, and I've been very, very comfortable using them. And they're, I don't know if you can even see the texture up close, but they're like buttery soft because of the brushed cotton. These ones came with a envelope back pillowcase, which this is the first sheet set I think that I have that has that. You know, obviously I've seen them before in like hotels and stuff, but I kind of like it because I feel like it looks really nice. If you're someone that flips your pillow over to sleep, it might be a little less comfy. You might, you know, end up getting stuck in the seam here, but I like the way it looks. Some of their other sheets, the linen and the percale, you can choose if you want the envelope back or if you want like the side open for your pillowcases, which I thought was cool too. It's just, you know, when you select your size and your color at checkout, you'll see it there. So at the end of the day, I liked both of these sheets, but I prefer Parachute. And a lot of that is I just like love these brushed cotton sheets. They are, you know, like when I think of cotton sheets, this is what I think of. They're super, super soft, but still like structured. They're a little bit thicker, so I think they'll hold up really well, but they're light enough to be, you know, and crisp enough to be cooling still. And they just look beautiful. Like you get this like really nice texture. They get like a little bit lived in and wrinkly, but not overly so, and they're like buttery. I did really like the Brooklinen sheets, and I'm gonna keep using them. They are a little bit starchier, so if you are sensitive to fabrics, to starchy fabrics, they might not be right for you. If you sleep super hot and want something light and very crisp, this is a great option. It's very, very lightweight. I wish both of these came in more colors. If this came in more colors, I would have probably multiple sets for every bed in my house and the pull-out couch because I love them so much. If you do want a lot of color options, you might want to check out Brooklinen. They have more. If you like that kind of like really natural, like almost Southwestern color palette too, check out Parachute. They've got just like the prettiest neutrals, which is kind of more my style personally. But you can't really go wrong with either one. Both of them are, I think, good quality for the price. The Parachute are a little better quality, I would say, or maybe, well, you know, time will tell, but because they're like a little bit thicker, a little sturdier, I feel like these are gonna last a lot longer than the Brooklinen ones. They are a slightly higher price point. You know, across ranges, they're pretty comparable. Like Brooklinen's cotton is a little cheaper, but their linen is a little more expensive. I would happily order from either of these companies again. Parachute, if you make more colors of the brushed cotton, please call me because I want them. And yeah, I am planning on reviewing some more sheet sets. So if you want to see them, please subscribe and let me know what you want to see next. Thanks.